Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. This is the Brittany Reacts Show. And on this show we talk all things entertainment news and movie news. Today we have all just entertainment news today. We have a lot of really good, I guess, big, interesting stories today. A lot of stuff that I don't normally cover, so I don't know how you in the chat are going to feel about it. Like, we actually have a Star Wars story to talk about today. And I was like, I don't normally talk about Star Wars, but this is such a big story, I feel like I can't not talk about it, so we're going to talk about it. Also, there are some plot details for Toy Story 5, and I'm not really a huge fan of this plot already. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why I'm a little nervous about Toy Story 5, so we'll get into that as well. Also, a new Karate Kid movie with like the two different versions of Karate Kid combined, so we're also going to talk about that. And of course, we do have some casting announcements for James Gunn's Superman Legacy. I didn't have enough space on the thumbnail, but we're going to talk about that as well. So we have actually a lot of good stuff to talk about. But as always, I do want to say hi to you guys. Hi, Divine. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Nate. Hi, World of Entertainment. Hi, Lysandra. Hi, Jessica H. Hi, Divine. I think I said that already. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Cheetah Viper. Hi, Alex. Hi, Sunset. Hi, Asteria. Hi, Will. Hi, Alex. And thank you to each and every one of you who comes to my show each and every day. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Hi, Josh. Hi, Starfilm Studio. Hi, everyone. So I do want to say this is my last stream until Friday because I am taking Wednesday and Thursday off for the Thanksgiving holiday. So happy Thanksgiving, guys, in advance to all of you who celebrate in America. On Friday, I will be posting a live review for Wish. So if you guys want to see my thoughts on Wish, make sure you tune into my live stream on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because we are going to have a very in-depth discussion about this movie. I'm actually, even though the reviews for this movie have not been very good, in fact, they're like surprisingly bad, I'm still looking forward to this movie. I'm curious to see how I'm going to like it. So I'm very much looking forward to that Friday live stream with you guys. And I will be posting a short on Thursday, to like an out-of-theater reaction like I've been doing. So make sure you stay tuned for that. All right. So how are you guys doing? I see a lot of Thanksgivings in the chat. I know I have a lot of Americans who watch me, a lot of Europeans too, but still a lot of Americans. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I was hoping I could find some sort of like Thanksgiving like festive thing I could wear, but I couldn't find anything. Sorry. But anyway, we are going to get to entertainment news straight away. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually the Superman Legacy casting. And Nicholas Hoult has been cast as Lex Luthor in James Gunn's upcoming Superman film. Now, I'm a huge Nicholas Hoult fan. I really like him. I feel like I'm an OG fan of this guy, actually. I've been a fan of him since, like, the old days when he was still in Skins, like the UK version of Skins, like Gen 1 of Skins. He was really good in that. I loved that show when it was on. It was one of my favorite shows back in the day. So the fact that he's actually like having a career now and he's been moving on. I saw him in The Menu. He was really good in that. He was in what's it called with the cars? Mad Max. He was in the Mad Max movie. He was also really good in that. So he keeps getting work. Good for him. He may not be getting the lead superhero roles he keeps auditioning for, since apparently he's auditioned for both Superman, Batman, a couple of other things. He has been Beast in the X-Men film, so that's another thing he's done. He's actually had a pretty good career. Good for him. I feel like he's the only cast member out of Skins that actually managed to have, like, a career. So good for him. But anyway, he's a good actor. I think he'll look good bald. So, I mean, honestly, the bar to beat Jesse Eisenberg from the last Batman v Superman, the bar is low. The bar is very low to be a better Lex Luthor than that. So I think he can do it. I think he can definitely do it. Josh Loves Movies says Nicholas Hoult auditioned for Batman, then Superman, ended up as Lex Luthor. What a journey he has had with DC. It sounds like he's the kind of actor who auditions for a lot of stuff and then just doesn't get it. Like, he's always that actor that almost got something. So this is nice, because he also almost got this Superman, but instead he's going to be the villain, which I actually think it suits him better anyway. Oh yeah, also Dev Patel is from Skins. He's probably the other person that's actually managed to have a career. I wish his career was as big as Nicholas Holt's right now. Like, I want Dev Patel in more stuff too. Yes, he was the guy from Fury Road that was always like, Valhalla. Yeah, he was that guy. But what do you guys think of this casting? Apparently they were also looking at Bradley Cooper, but he turned it down. That would have been a very different Lex Luthor, so that kind of makes me like curious as to what direction they're actually taking the character, because I don't really see Nicholas Hoult and Bradley Cooper as like the same type. So that's a little confusing to me, but I like both actors. It also does confirm here that James Gunn definitely plans on working with a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy cast again. He's already working on with a couple of people. There have been rumors that he really wants to work with Chris Pratt again over at DC. So I bet we're going to see all the Guardians actors over at DC eventually. It's just funny that he went to Bradley Cooper first. And I guess he's just really done with superhero films. I don't know. Oh yeah, he was also in Warm Bodies. That was a good movie too. I've actually seen Nicholas Hoult in a lot of stuff. Angel Barrera says, unfortunately, it's not the person I wanted to be casted. My first choice was me. Oh, Angel, you wanted to be Lex? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe next time. Josh Loves Movies says, I'm excited, especially after The Menu. Yes, The Menu was really good. I actually really liked that movie, and I thought he was good in it. He plays neurotic very well, so I'm thinking like a Nicholas Hoult version of this character might be a little bit less of like a macho tough guy, because that's not really Nicholas Holt's thing. He's more of like a anxious neurotic type. But maybe he'll make like an anxious Lex Luthor work. I can see it. Again, he has to beat Jesse Eisenberg. That's all he has to do. Just don't be a stuttering fool and you'll be okay. He thankfully the last iteration of this character was not good. So as far as comparisons go, he has some of the best comparisons to go off of. He's not like David Cornsweet, who's going to be the new Superman, who has to be compared to Henry Cavill. I feel bad for the guy because he's like already constantly being compared to Henry Cavill. No one's going to compare him to Jesse Eisenberg unless he's just that bad. Alex says he was in the Jack and the Beanstalk flop. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's a working actor, so good for him. He has a really good agent. Cheetah Viper says Holt can transform as a character. I think he can do a good job. I agree. Seems like most of you guys are really excited. But Divine says if Chris Pratt works with DC, Marvel will cry. Why do you think Marvel will cry? I think they're pretty much expecting it at this point. James Gunn has been going out there and been like, hey guys, I'm taking all my Marvel actors. Like, he hasn't been very like quiet about it. Anyway, I did want to just bring this up because I think this entire cast really is kind of shaping up to be pretty good. Like with David Cornsweet, I love Rachel Brosnahan. I'm a big fan of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's a really great show. So I think she's a perfect Lois Lane. Nathan Fillion. I actually felt like Nathan Fillion should have been the Thing for Fantastic Four, but it looks like DC got him first. He's the new Hal Jordan, aka the Green Lantern. So we'll see. This movie could be really good, or it could not be very good. I have no idea what to expect from this film. For me personally, James Gunn is very hit and miss. I like some of his stuff, but I don't like everything. And the fact that the superhero genre is just so like down and out in general right now, this movie doesn't have to, it can't be just merely okay. It has to be like fantastic to really be a hit. So I think the cast is shaping up really good, which is nice, but I am a little nervous, but at least I like this casting here. That's a good thing. Joshua Munn thinks will be a super flop. Oh, I hope not. I mean, DC really needs that to be a hit, desperately. Nintendo Gaming Chair, thank you so much for the super chat. My reasons for skipping Hunger Games prequel due to Rachel Zegler on her bigoted comments about Snow White and disrespectful tone. Yeah, I think I talked about this in my live stream yesterday when I talked about the Hunger Games not doing well. And I think the reason why that movie is not doing well is partially because so many people are like so angry with Rachel Zegler. And I mean, you're not the only person in my chat who has said they didn't see the new Hunger Games movie specifically because of Rachel Zegler. So you're not alone. I think, as I said in my review, it's a shame that she's not as likable in her interviews as she is in the movie. Because she is so much better in the movie than she is in, like, interviews and stuff and when she speaks in public. Because she turns so many people away from her, like, whenever she opens her mouth. And I'm like, girl, who is your publicist? But anyway, I totally get where you're coming from, Nintendo Gaming Chair. I totally get it. But I actually think the movie is worth your time. Maybe catch it on streaming later. I don't know. But I actually like the movie. But thank you for the super chat. Joshua says, why Nathan Fillion as the Thing? I feel like he'd be perfect. Nathan Fillion just kind of has that. Okay, this is a compliment. Just hear me out. He has like sad boy energy, Nathan Fillion, and I feel like the Thing needs sad boy energy. Because isn't like the Thing, the character Ben Grimm, supposed to be like a representation of like male depression? I feel like, and again, this is a compliment. But I feel like Nathan Fillion could best represent male depression. Like, I feel like he could just act that part really well. So that's why I felt like he would have been a good role for that. But I don't think they're going with him. It sounds like they're going with someone else. So we'll see what they do with the Fantastic Four casting. But I just thought Nathan Fillion would have been a good idea for that. But anyway, any other thoughts on the Superman Legacy casting before we move on to the next topic? Yeah, Alex, at one point they really wanted Ben Grimm to be Mila Kunis, which would have been an awful, awful decision. And, like, just example number 1,000 of, like, how their misguided attempts at representation actually ruin things. Because that would have been awful. But anyway, Joshua says, what does that even mean, sad boy energy? It's exactly what I said, right? Doesn't Ben Grimm have sad boy energy? Even in the original live action movies, I don't think the original, but the old early 2000 live action movies, isn't he also like depressed in that too? I feel like that's like a huge part of Ben Grimm's character, right? But anyway, that's why I felt like Nathan Fillion would have been good for the part. Or hey Barrios, thank you so much for the super chat. Did you hear Silver Surfer is gonna be a woman? Really? Really, is that true? If that's true, then I hope that they get a person that is just so well cast and so perfect for the role, no one can complain. Because otherwise, people are gonna. I feel like I understand on one hand I guess the conundrum that Marvel finds itself in. It's like they want to adapt all these iconic characters, but a lot of these iconic characters were introduced like decades ago when like comics were mostly very, very white. So they want to diversify now because we live in a very diverse world and everyone goes to the theaters to see movies. So I totally get it. But at the same time, you don't want to like swap out characters, race swap, gender swap characters that don't make sense. There are certain characters that are written a certain way for a reason. It's like why James Bond should never be a woman. There can be like female action spy heroes, that's totally cool, but James Bond specifically was written to be a man. That's kind of how I feel about Ben Grimm. It's like he was very specifically written to be a man, and changing that character to be a woman would be fundamentally changing the character. So I'm okay with race and gender swaps, but really only when it's not going to fundamentally change who the character is. And a lot of times when they do that, that's what they're doing. That's why I feel like it actually ends up messing up things more than it ends up helping. But I hope I answered that question, whoever asked that. Ashley Banks says there's never been a woman Silver Surfer in the comics. They can't make that. Well, Ashley, it sounds like they might. I don't know if that's true or not. Jorge mentioned it. But maybe it might be. I have no idea. But anyway, moving on to the next topic. So, it looks like we're getting a new Karate Kid movie, but this time it's got Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio reprising their roles. It's coming to theaters next year, which is like a pretty quick turnaround, but also, these two people come from different, like, franchises within this overall franchise. Do you guys remember the Karate Kid movies? I know some of you have seen these. Like, you have the Karate Kid movies from the 80s and 90s, which, are classics. I've seen the whole trilogy. They're really good. And then you have, I believe, the 2010 version, or some. It was around 2010, but it had, like, Jaden Smith in it and Jackie Chan. It was supposed to be a reboot. So still the Karate Kid, but it had, like, a different master and a different mentor. And then, because that didn't really do all that well, they decided to bring back Ralph Macchio from the original series and make Kobra Kai, which became like a huge, huge hit on Netflix. So, it makes a lot of sense for them to want to keep around the Karate Kid story, especially since Kobra Kai is such a popular show on Netflix. But I'm like, wait a minute, how are they bringing Jackie Chan with Ralph Macchio? Does that mean the two Karate Kid movies were technically in the same universe? I thought that Jackie Chan was supposed to be playing the Mr. Miyagi character from the original series. So now I'm a little confused about, like, the canon, and I kind of thought these two movies were in, like, separate universes, but I guess not. But anyway, they made this whole, like, video together, which was actually pretty cute. And a fun element to all of this is that they're actually doing a global search for an unknown actor to play the lead kid in this movie, which is really, really fun. I feel like they rarely do these, like, massive open cattle calls anymore. So this is very exciting. Whoever gets this role, it's going to be a major opportunity for them. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun movie. I like the world of Karate Kid. I probably will go see this, but yeah, it's a little interesting. Very, very weird. Angel Barrera. Oh wait, where am I going? Okay. Sorry. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. Have you seen Suspiria between Tilda Swinton played a man and old man prosthetics for no reason? Maybe we should do that instead of gender swapping. No, we should not. We should really not. The only time that I have seen a movie try to race swap characters using makeup where I actually feel like it worked is a movie called Cloud Atlas. Have you guys seen this? It's actually one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I love Cloud Atlas. I think it's an underrated masterpiece, and I will die on that hill. But it is very controversial because it deals with reincarnation, and you get the same group of actors, and you follow the same group of actors and characters throughout, like, multiple centuries, but they keep getting reincarnated as, like, a new person. But they might be reincarnated as, like, a new race. So you had, like, I think they had, like, Tom Hanks pretend to be a black guy or something. They had Jim Sturgis, like, they turned him into, like, an Asian Korean guy. And the prosthetics look pretty messed up. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, just look it up. They looked messed up, but the movie itself was really, really good. Also, White Chicks. Yes, White Chicks, they do it too. Love White Chicks. It's a great movie. Yes, Cloud Atlas was a trip. I love the movie though. It's crazy AF, but it's literally one of my all-time favorite movies. I still quote, "It's the true," all the time. Anyway, getting back to Karate Kid. I think this movie is probably going to be a huge, huge hit just because the show Kobra Kai is a huge hit. I think there's still a lot of nostalgia for the original. Maybe we still haven't reached peak nostalgia fatigue yet. People might still be very excited about this. I don't know. But I'm very, very curious to see, like, what becomes of this movie, especially since they're kind of merging two different franchises here. I guess, is Jaden Smith going to be in this? I mean, are they literally just kicking Jaden Smith out? I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm absolutely done with the entire Smith family. I feel like I could go the rest of my life and never hear a single thing about any of the Smiths again. I'd be fine, but that's mostly Jaden Smith's parents' fault, not Jaden Smith's fault. So, I don't know. But anyway, I think it's going to be a big hit. I actually think there's going to be some hype around this, but we'll see. We'll see. Crystal, yes, Cloud Atlas was very weird. Does anyone else like it? Am I alone in liking Cloud Atlas here? David E. did not like White Chicks. First time I saw White Chicks, it was actually in a double feature. I was way too young to watch that movie. I forgot what I was watching first, but it was the movie that came afterwards. I was in the theater with my mom. I think we just decided to like stick around for the second movie because we were actually at a drive-in. It was a double feature at a drive-in. And we decided to stick around for the second movie. I was really young. I know I was in like elementary school, so I was way too young to be watching this movie. But we decided to watch it because we were like, oh, White Chicks, what is this? Formative experience, I have to say. Formative experience. That was like one of those edgy movies I was watching. I was like, oh my god, I'm so mature. It was a funny time. But anyway, random story that's not relevant. You guys just distracted me with White Chicks. But anyway, anyone actually looking forward to this Karate Kid movie? Anyone gonna watch it? Anyone a fan of the Netflix show? Seems like you guys want to talk about White Chicks. Joshua Munn says the Smiths tanked their own careers, kids included. I know! That's what I'm kind of like. I feel like the reason they're not bringing Jaden back is because of his parents, and I feel like that kind of sucks. Never heard of White Chicks? Do yourself a favor. Go watch White Chicks. Husa says Cloud Atlas is an underrated masterpiece. Thank you. Totally agree. Definitely problematic. Could not be made today. But it's good. But anyway, seems like most of you guys are not interested in this. So let's move on to the next topic. So, you guys have heard that Toy Story 5 is in the works. We've been talking about it. This isn't the only sequel from Disney in the works. They've got like Zootopia 2. They've got a Frozen 3 and a Frozen 4. Like, they've got all sorts of sequels coming. Toy Story 5 is one of the many on its way. Zootopia 3 as well. Oh no, it's Zootopia 2. But anyway, we now have some plot details, thanks to Tim Allen, who was talking about it in an interview. And he says that Toy Story 5 will follow an adult Andy trying to find and reunite all of his old toys for his child. And upon first reading this, I was like, this sounds like he's going through a midlife crisis. Because do people really do this? Do adults really, like, go out in the world and try to collect their old toys that they might have given away, like they're collecting the Avengers or something? Like, do people... I don't think this is a thing. So I'm like, I feel like this must be like a Barbie situation. If you guys have seen the Barbie movie, where it's the adult that's like actually needs the toys more than the kids. Because the child cannot be like demanding his old childhood toys this much. This must be Andy going through something. And he's like, I need my toys back. I miss them. And the reason why I'm like, this plot has me a tiny bit concerned is because do you guys remember how Toy Story 4 ended? Toy Story 4 actually ended with Woody and Buzz and the whole gang separating. Do you guys remember that? Like, I know a lot of people didn't really care for Toy Story 4, but do you guys remember how this ended? This ended with Woody wanting to stay at the carnival to hang out with Bo Peep and realizing he didn't really want to be some child's toy anymore. And we had Buzz Lightyear and all the rest of the toys deciding to stay with Bonnie. So they've been separated. That's the last time we've seen like these characters, is when they were being separated. And neither of them, or any of them, are with Andy. So does this mean that Toy Story 5 is gonna be about Andy like rolling up to Bonnie's house and demanding all his toys back? Like, what is he gonna say to this poor kid? I mean, maybe she's grown up a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, is Bonnie now like a tween or something and she doesn't want to play with her kids? Like, otherwise, this is kind of cruel. Like, didn't Andy show up at Bonnie's house, like, and hand her all of his toys? Is he gonna come back and be like, you know what, never mind, can I have these back? Like, I feel like this literally undoes the ending for both Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. Do you guys agree with me? Do you like this plot? I feel like this plot here is very much just like the definition of we needed to come up with a story because Disney told us to make another sequel and this is the only thing we can think of. Because this completely undoes everything that Toy Story 4 was about. So I don't know. This just makes it seem even more like a cash grab than it already seemed like. Does anyone else feel this way about the plot? Is anyone else into this? Will French says, not talking about that right now. Mad Hatter says, people do seek out their old childhood toys, but usually they just find new ones on eBay, not the actual toys. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he might want, like, his child to play with an old Woody or Buzz toy. But no, he's like literally apparently gonna go on a road trip in this film. And is literally gonna go out there and try to collect all of these toys himself. This is what I mean when I say, like, is he having like an existential crisis? Like, this is not usual. Like, what is going on here? How do you guys feel about this plot? Oh, I do have a lot of super chats I missed. Oh no, I gotta get through all of these. Thank you so much for the super chats, though. I deeply appreciate it. Shelly Lee says, when adults go through grown-up stuff, we buy cars. Do guys that are way too young eat, pray, love it? Eat, pray, and love. You know, normal midlife crisis stuff. You know what, Shelly? You're totally right. Maybe Andy just needs to read Eat, Pray, Love and, like, go on, like, a nice healing trip. Eat some pasta. I don't know. But the whole, like, going on a road trip to, like, collect his old toys, it's a little sad. Like, it's almost, like, too sad, you know? It's like, this is what happened to Andy when he grew up? Like, oh, man. What happened? Angel Barrera, again, thank you for the super chat. Andy will have an eye patch and assemble a team. Right? Like, assembling a team of toy Avengers. I don't know. What else did I miss? Will Bowden says, how excited are you for the Filoni news? We are going to get to the Filoni news just after this, so that's the next topic. Angel Barrera also says, you distracted me with White Chicks. Yes. I mean, the White Chicks movie is very, very funny, but yes, it's also very good. Anyone who hasn't seen it, I do recommend it. But anyway, I think that I got all the super chats. Yes. Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. I do genuinely appreciate them. Very, very kind. But what do you guys think of this plot? Do you like it? Do you think this is like a good idea for a fifth one, or are you like me, where you're just like, this completely undoes everything that we just went through? What are you talking about? Like, I can't get out of my head this thought of like adult Andy out of college rolling up to poor Bonnie's house, being like, I want my toys back. Like, how do they do this and not make him seem like the bad guy, you know? That's the real question. Nintendo Gaming Chair, thank you so much for the super chat. Question, have you seen Purge series has real DEI? I have not seen the Purge series. I have seen the movies, but I haven't seen, there's a TV show? I have no idea. I did like the last Purge movie I saw. It was very good. But I have not seen what you're talking about specifically, though. But thank you for the super chat. Okay, you agree with me, Cherry Blossom. That's great. Will French says, it could work, but it's 2023 Disney. That's true. Can they keep up the same quality regardless? It's a real problem. Luna just says he's a poor dude. I know, right? Like, we should not be feeling bad for Andy, right? Like, we should not be feeling bad. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they should have ended with 3. 3 had the best ending. It had the best ending. Okay, a lot of you seem to be agreeing with me. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, Pixar theory. What if Andy might be Elio in the upcoming movie? Well, I'll have to see Elio first, but I do love the Pixar theory. I do feel like the Pixar theory is starting to get too untenable now, but I do like the Pixar theory. It's fun. It's at least a fun thought experiment. But anyway, those are my thoughts on this Toy Story 5. I just mostly think that this plot sounds like it undoes, like, the character arcs that the last characters just went through. Like, literally the whole point of Toy Story 4 was Woody going through an existential crisis because he was trying to figure out what was he made for. Like, speaking of Barbie, like, he was trying to figure out, like, what is his purpose in life now that Andy doesn't want to play with him and he wasn't Bonnie's favorite toy? Like, now it's just like, oh, never mind. Andy really wants you again. Oh, Woody's just going to undo all of this, you know, exploration and self-reflection he's done, and he's just going to go back to being Andy's toy again. I don't know. It does sound like they're just trying to, like, undo everything. That's just how I feel about it. Jal Pedro says, I know the original plan for Toy Story 2 is them going to a toy factory. Wonder if they'll use it for the fifth one. That could be interesting. I have no idea what they're going to do. It sounds like most of it's going to take place like in the world. It's not going to be at Andy's house. That's also something I wish that they would do. I kind of liked the original trilogy, stuck mostly to around Andy's house. I don't know how I feel about seeing these toys just in the wild. I don't know. It feels weird. Nintendo Gaming Chair, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm referring to how the Purge movies has DEI that isn't forced. The last Purge movie I saw was the one where basically America collapses. That was a very good movie. I actually really liked it. I think it was called Purge: The Forever War. I actually really liked that movie just because it seems like a very realistic depiction of what might happen if the U.S. did collapse. So I was just like watching it, taking notes, like, oh, really? That's going to happen. Okay, that's what I need to do. All right. So, that's why I liked the movie. And you're right. The movie had a lot of diversity and it didn't feel forced. So I actually like the Purge movies quite a bit. But anyway, moving on to the next topic. So, Dave Filoni just got a massive promotion. This is pretty huge for him. He is now the Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, which, for those who may not know, because I do not talk about Star Wars much, Lucasfilm is, of course, like the company that is behind Star Wars and a bunch of other properties, but mostly Star Wars. He will now work directly with Kathleen Kennedy to oversee the next generation of Star Wars and shows. Now, here's why this is actually a major deal. This is a major deal for a couple of things. One, Kathleen Kennedy is mega hated by a good portion of the fan base. I would even say at this point it's the majority of the fan base. I don't even think it's like a small but loud crowd. I really think just by the mere fact that a lot of Star Wars movies and shows aren't getting the viewership that they were, like the sequel trilogy was getting less and less money every time a new movie was released. These Disney Plus shows aren't really getting the viewership that they should be. So it makes sense that they're looking for new creative leadership, especially since Kathleen Kennedy is so infamous at this point. The fact that she got an entire freaking South Park episode literally just making fun of Kathleen Kennedy. You don't see South Park making entire specials around just one executive. But that just shows you just how, disliked and just overall, how poorly received her job has been since she's taken over Lucasfilm. The fact that South Park just felt like they could make, a whole episode just taking a shot at her it just shows you just how much of a poor state both Star Wars is at and Kathleen Kennedy herself is at. And so it makes a lot of sense that, of course, Bob Iger and co. must be like, okay, so how do we fix Star Wars? We can't get people to watch our shows anymore. We got Kathleen Kennedy, who has literally become a joke to the entire industry. How do we get things back on board? So they decided to go with Dave Filoni. Now, who is Dave Filoni? I do see some of you people in the chat who are like, who is Dave Filoni? Well, Dave Filoni is actually the guy behind a lot of Star Wars animated shows. He's behind the Clone Wars, Rebels. He's also behind The Mandalorian. And he's behind the most recent Ahsoka. Now, he has a very, very passionate fan base. There's kind of almost two factions of Star Wars fans. There's the camp that really loves Kathleen Kennedy. Well, no. That's too strong of a statement. There is no camp that loves Kathleen Kennedy, but there is a camp that respects some of her sequel movies and actually some of the shows and stuff that comes out. That's as far as I'll say. There's at least one camp that can respect Disney's Star Wars to a degree. I won't say love Kathleen Kennedy, but they can respect it. And then there's another side that's like, heck no, I hate Disney Star Wars. This stuff is terrible. It's Kathleen Kennedy is the boogeyman of my dreams. She killed my dog. She's the worst thing in the world. She ruined Star Wars forever. So I think the fact that now they have another person here, Dave Filoni, who is more well known for making like crowd-pleasing stuff like Rebels, like The Mandalorian. I think this is like Disney trying to give an olive branch to other Disney fans. Like, hey guys, you know that guy you really like? Like, he's now going to be in charge. You guys don't have to hate Star Wars anymore. It's not just Kathleen Kennedy in charge. Look, now Dave Filoni's a part of it. Look, guys, look. Like, I feel like this is definitely a move to placate the fans. Like, for sure, for sure. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think Dave Filoni could do a good job in this role? Josh Loves Movie says, Ahsoka was way better than The Mandalorian Season 3, in my opinion. I agree, Josh. I actually agree. I have my problems with Ahsoka. I still don't think it's a great show, but it is better than Mandalorian Season 3. Danny says, how are the executives just as famous as the actors these days? It is true, though. I mean, the fact that South Park had a whole show just making fun of one Disney executive. And again, they don't even explain who Kathleen Kennedy is until like the very end of the special. They just expect you to know who she is. It's kind of crazy. And the fact is, she's infamous. She's not even famous for a good thing. She's famous for ruining Star Wars. So it's like, is that really what she wants to be famous for? Jorge Barrios says, just like when they made Buzz dumbed down in 4. Or you're talking about Toy Story. Yeah, I hope they don't like dumb down Buzz even more. I really hope they don't do that. I really liked Buzz in the first 3 movies, but I did not care for him in the 4th one. It's like they forgot what to do with Buzz. And then what they did with the Lightyear movie, I was like, do they even know who Buzz is as a character anymore? Like, what is going on over at Pixar? I'm honestly kind of upset with Pixar. I feel like, and Disney Animation, not just Pixar, but both of them. I feel like they've really fallen off creatively. It sucks. It sucks really bad. But thank you for the super chat, Jorge. And we have another super chat from Will Bowden. Thank you so much. While Dave doesn't always hit, he's made so much good stuff consistently that I'm really excited for him to be the CCO. Yes, Rebels, Mando, they were all very amazing. See, as I'm just saying, Will pointed out, Dave Filoni, he has, where is it? Dave Filoni, he has a huge fan base. Well, I don't know if it's huge, but he has a very, very passionate fan base. And that's why I think they made this call, because they're looking for someone who the fan base actually likes, because they realize that Kathleen Kennedy is not that person. So he's kind of just being the face here to be like, it's okay, Star Wars fans. The franchise is in the hands of someone, better now. Someone you actually like. Like, I feel like this is like, as I said, it's an olive branch to the fans, this choice, in my opinion. Now, I also think, I'm not sure how well this is going to work in terms of actually turning Star Wars completely around, because Ahsoka, the show that he was mainly behind, he wrote it, he directed it, he created the character, he's like, his hands are all over Ahsoka, basically. Ahsoka actually didn't even do that well. Like, it got pretty low viewership, especially for its finale. So this is why I said that I think Dave has a very passionate fan base, but I'm not sure if it's very big. So even though I know this is going to make a lot of Star Wars fans happy, I don't know if this news is enough to, like, make casual Star Wars fans being like, oh, wow, Dave Filoni is now in charge. Oh, I suddenly feel a lot better about Star Wars. I don't think so, especially since a lot of you in my chat didn't even know who Dave Filoni was. So I think Star Wars still has a lot to do to change its image around and get fans back on board, but I think that this is at least a good positive first step. Like I said, it's an olive branch to the fans. At least the fans that do care. But what do you guys think about all of this? Honestly, I think South Park made this happen. Like, maybe they were already considering hiring him and like bringing him on in a larger capacity beforehand, but the fact that South Park just utterly ridiculed Kathleen Kennedy, it probably embarrassed them so badly they were like, okay, we gotta get someone else in here. Yeah, Scorpio Shadow is not surprised. Ahsoka is meh. Prototype says, if they canonize the extended universe, all is forgiven. I don't think they're going to do that, just because that would mean Disney would have to admit they were wrong to decanonize it in the first place. And Disney will never admit they were wrong. Nagisa says, the Mario movie made me more aware of the entertainment industry and how bad it is. Oh, thank you. Oh, so you're saying that you found me through Mario and that's how you found out about the entertainment industry. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying these streams, Nagisa, and you're learning a lot from them. I genuinely appreciate it. Nicholas says, even fully enmeshed Star Wars nerds like me knows Disney isn't capturing the love. Yeah, I mean, if you guys go back to even just like 2015 when The Force Awakens came out, as someone who wasn't even like a massive Star Wars fan, I really still don't really consider myself one. Even back then though, I couldn't help but feel the hype because the hype was real. I remember the day that the trailer for The Force Awakens came out because I was actually walking on my campus, my college campus, and when the trailer dropped, I kid you not, it was such a big deal, this trailer. As I was walking like on campus to get to my next class, I was like watching the trailer on my phone, and as I was watching, I was seeing other people on their phones also watching the trailer. It was like literally everyone kind of like just dropped what they were doing just to watch the Star Wars trailer. Like that's how big of a deal it was when it came out. Like it was that when that trailer dropped, everyone shut up and listened. Like it was a huge cultural moment. So to go from that in 2015 to where we're at now, where just Star Wars apathy is just extreme, like extreme. It's like night and day compared to where Star Wars used to be. So maybe this will help. I definitely think this is the first step in like turning things around. But I still don't think it's going to be enough because I don't know if his fan base is like large. I just think they're very loud and passionate. But we'll see. I know the hat is epic. Prototype says the extended universe stuff has so much cool stuff. Lucas messed up badly by not doing anything with it. I actually agree with it. Joshua Munn says Disney is still very pissed about South Park. I'm not surprised. I mean, they went after that company hard, like super hard, and Bob Iger too. I'm just waiting for the episode where they focus on Kevin Feige, because honestly, Kevin Feige deserves his own episode too. And Alexander Padilla says, oh, well, I'm not going to talk about that for right now. Scorpio Shadow says, I think Andor is the only project that saved maybe the Star Wars writing, I think. But thing is, though, a lot of people liked Andor, but that also didn't get a lot of viewership. So I don't even know what can. It's like Ahsoka didn't bring the viewership, Andor didn't bring the viewership, and those are two very opposite kinds of shows. And even what was the one? Obi-Wan. The Obi-Wan show also didn't really do crazy with viewership, and that had Vader. That had Darth Vader, and it didn't even do well enough for a sequel. So, I think the Star Wars shows in general just are not working out. They're not getting the viewership that they should be. A lot of them are just poorly received. A lot of them, I think they're actually hurting the perception of the brand more than they're helping them. So I think they should just stop the Disney Plus shows. Honestly, they should stop the Disney Plus shows not just for Star Wars, but for Marvel too. I think the Disney Plus experiment has been a failure for their two biggest franchises. They started off strong and promising with Mandalorian and WandaVision, but after that, it's just like, just everything after that has been a disaster, in my opinion. I don't know, Alex, will we get a Pandaverse too? I feel like it was so successful, we might. We just might. Yeah, Luna, a lot of people didn't like the Obi-Wan show. The Obi-Wan show could have been so much better. They had Darth Vader in it. How did they make that show boring? How? I don't know. But we'll see. I did ask you guys, my members, do you think that asking Dave Filoni to join being the CCO of Lucasfilm will actually change anything? Do you think that his hiring, or promotion I should say, will actually save Star Wars? Again, if you want to be a member, all you have to do is press the join button at the bottom of the screen. I really do appreciate it. It supports the channel. Plus, you get to comment on these community posts on the community page, and you get a shout out in all of my videos. So do please consider becoming a member today. So the first comment here is from Aster Flowers. Thank you for being a member. They said, the Clone Wars and Rebels animated shows are some of my favorite parts of Star Wars. I love the characters he's introduced to the franchise and all the important Force lore he brought to the canon and its role in Anakin's and Ahsoka's stories. I don't think it's that easy to remove Kathleen Kennedy considering how long she has been part of Star Wars, but at least he will have a strong enough voice to take the storytelling in the direction it should go. I honestly think that them trying to do this, I think this is going to take so much power away from Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, the two might be working side by side, but I think it's becoming very clear that Kathleen Kennedy is getting less and less control over at Lucasfilm. I think part of why they're doing this deal with Dave Filoni is to try to get someone else to take over for her. So make no mistake, yeah, they might be working together, but I think this definitely hurts Kathleen Kennedy's power and control over at Lucasfilm. She's definitely going to have a lot less of it now that she has someone else in charge too. And that's definitely intentional, by the way. In fact, when she does eventually gets fired or leaves or whatever, they're probably going to have, unless he's completely messed up by then, they're probably going to have Dave Filoni take over. I think they're kind of priming him for it right now. Age of Men says, I have only watched the Mandalorian series from the Star Wars universe, just for Pedro and Grogu. I don't care about other movies and TV series, but I hope this change will make Star Wars fans happy, because from what I can see, they have been suffering for a long time. Oh my gosh. I love how this comment doesn't even come from a Star Wars fan, but they're just from an outsider's perspective, it seems like the Star Wars fans have been suffering. It's everyone can see, even people who aren't Star Wars fans are yeah, Star Wars is in a bad spot. But you're right, it really is. It's obvious to everyone at this point. Cherry Blossom Fantasy says, I had to search this guy up as I'm not familiar with his name. His track record seems promising, notably his involvement with the Avatar The Last Airbender. Say what? He was part of that? Huh? No, what? Was he a part of Avatar? Hold on. I have to go back. No, wait, what? This is brand new information to me. What did he do in Avatar? No. I don't see Avatar on here. Previous writer. You really got me distracted because I'm wait a minute, what? Wait, he is a director on 9 episodes. Huh? I had no idea. What? Oh, now I like him even more. Oh, wow, okay. So he's directed 9 episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender. No wonder he's actually good at his job. This has been great news. I just found out. Yay! So yes, this is great. Yeah, no wonder he's actually a good writer. You have to be talented to work on this show. Okay, anyway. Thank you for letting me know. I found something out today. I had to find out. That was too big news to not check up on. Okay. But anyway, thank you. I was just wait a minute. But yes, that also makes him awesome. Anyway, however, I think the key question for Disney isn't how Star Wars should be revived, but rather should Star Wars be revived for the umpteenth time. Honestly, at this point, I think Disney should either do one of two things with Star Wars. They should do either, I know this is going to be controversial, but hear me out. I think what they've done with the shows and the movies, what Disney has done, they have kind of done what they did to Marvel, whereas they've made the overall storyline seem so messy and convoluted that I think it makes any outsider who is new to all of this, I think it makes it really intimidating to get a part of this world, because you're oh, I gotta know all this lore? What do you mean I gotta watch these animated shows too? Oh wait, I gotta play the games as well? Oh, they're books? I gotta read books? I don't know. I feel one thing that Disney could do, honestly, I think, and I can't believe I'm about to say this because I say that Disney shouldn't do this with a lot of other properties, but with Star Wars, I actually think they should do this. I think they should reboot. That's one option. Have the same characters. You can have similar storylines to what was happening in the original trilogy, but have a different cast, get different directors, maybe put a slightly different a different fresh take on it, or a different like flavor to it. I don't know. But I honestly just go back to like the original story with Han, Luke, and Leia. And, you know, I almost said the TARDIS, no. And the Millennium Falcon. Just go back to that. Just with like a new cast and make it new for a new generation. Because then you can like get a whole new younger generation or people who aren't massive Star Wars fans to actually want to join your universe. Because everyone could be, you know, start at the same place together. I feel like that's one option that Disney could do. Even though I know that's going to be very controversial. I know a lot of people would not want that. But I think they kind of do need to reset at this point. Another thing that they could do is maybe sell Lucasfilm to someone else. Just because I think Disney and Star Wars, like the brand of Disney Star Wars together, is so tainted that I feel like unless Disney does something drastic with their next movies and like they really like make them good, I feel like people are over Disney Star Wars specifically. So if they don't want to reboot, I feel like they should honestly just sell it to someone else. Because I'm not even convinced, just because I don't know if this Filoni fan base is super large, because nothing that he's really worked on has had like a huge large audience when it comes to Star Wars. So I'm like, yes, he's loved by a large number, or at least a certain number of passionate fans, but I don't know if like it's gonna be enough, you know? So I kind of feel like they need to reboot or just sell it. Those are Disney's two options in my opinion. But do you guys agree with that? Do you think rebooting and like just having the Star Wars universe or trilogy again is like blasphemous, or do you guys agree with me? Okay, rock, paper, scissors agree they should also sell Lucasfilm. I think that's their other option. Bring back George Lucas. I would say bring back George Lucas, but he's gotten a lot older now. I don't know if he wants to, you know, film or work on movies. If anything, maybe have George Lucas write out a treatment for what he would want with this new rebooted series and then go off of that. I would be okay with that. Scorpio Shadow says, I think they need to focus on like maybe different and new characters for Star Wars and not have the most popular characters on their spot. Yeah, if they did do a reboot of the Star Wars series, they could add new characters that weren't in the original. Like, I could totally see that. Maybe they could, you know, that's how they can have a bit of old and new at the same time. Okay, Hidden Name thinks it's blasphemy. I know a lot of people would think it's blasphemy, but I feel like they kind of have to do something drastic to save Star Wars, to be honest. And I think this is it. But anyway, getting back to this. Alexander Padilla says, hey, Brittany, I am not a fan of Star Wars, but I've seen people online that love his work, and interviews suggest that he's very invested with the franchise, so I think it's a good choice. Get fans of the material to lead your franchise. Simple as that. Disney should do fire Kathleen Kennedy and her whole staff and fumigate and disinfect her whole office. Oh my gosh. Damn. Not fumigate her whole office, not just fire her. They need to fumigate her. Like, oh my god. But anyway, you're probably right. I think... Well, I mean, at this point, why have they not gotten rid of Kathleen Kennedy? Like, I feel like she must have some dirty laundry on Bob Iger or something. I don't know. Like, at this point, it's not even just, like, the toxic fan base that keeps talking about her. Like, there are very legitimate, real reasons why you should fire this woman. Mainly, if you just want to go back to this summer with the new Indiana Jones movie that flopped terribly. You could use that as an excuse, and that's not even related to Star Wars. Like, there are so many real reasons why she should be fired that it's crazy that she hasn't been. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. What George Lucas wants, stop effing things up. Honestly, every time George Lucas even talks about Disney Star Wars, he's like, what are they doing to my baby? What are they doing to my child? George has nothing but terrible things to say about what Disney has done to Star Wars. He didn't even show up to the premiere of the last movie they released because he was that upset with them. And I'm not surprised after seeing the movie. But anyway, Desi B says, I think it depends on how involved Kathleen Kennedy will still be. If she is taking a creative hands-off approach, then I think giving Dave Filoni the reins is a good move. But if Kathleen Kennedy still wants to put a chick in it and make it gay, then I don't know. P.S. I discourage diverse group representation in the entertainment D-pace, but done properly and not just for the pandering, LOL. No, I totally get you, Desi B. We're on the same page here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Kathleen Kennedy is probably definitely gonna have at least some involvement because she's not gonna allow herself to not have any involvement. I'm just hoping that it's not gonna be like so overpowering that Filoni feels like he's just playing second fiddle to her. Like, I can't imagine Kathleen Kennedy is actually happy about any of this. Like, I bet she's pissed that they're even hiring someone to, like, essentially hold her hand, because that's what they're doing. Make no mistake. They're not promoting Dave Filoni to, like, you know, as a favor to Kathleen Kennedy. No, they're promoting him to, like, make, you know, lessen her power and honestly make her look a little bad. So she's probably pissed about all of this. So I wouldn't be surprised if she, like, tries to sabotage this project or whatever Dave works on and tries to, like, get involved somehow. I just hope that she doesn't, like, completely take over. Onyx Anomaly, thank you so much for this super chat. Genuinely appreciate it. The Star Wars EU should have remained canon. Lucasfilm are taking bits and pieces from the EU anyway. Brittany, I love the content. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Onyx, and love the super chat. Yeah, I think, honestly, when Disney decided that they were going to decanonize all the old Star Wars stuff, even back then, I felt like that was a mistake. Because as someone who, even though I wasn't part, and I'm still not really part of the Star Wars fan base, I've been entrenched in many other fan bases. And I know that, like, the one thing you don't do to a fan base is, like, take away or decanonize something that people love. Because once people have, like, canonized it in their minds, there have been books about it, fan fictions made on it, people have, like, claimed something as real in their minds and they love it, and then you take it away from them and say, oh, actually, that never actually happened. It pisses fans off intensely. And I think that was, like, a mistake from the get-go from Disney to do that, and I think it's something that they've never quite recovered from. It's like why fans are really mad at Marvel for what they did with Rhodey, like making him a Skrull during Avengers Endgame. It's the same kind of thing, because you kind of decanonized that moment where it wasn't actually Rhodey, he was a Skrull the whole time. That's why fans were pissed, because you don't mess with canon. Fans don't like when you mess with canon, no matter what fan base. So I think it was always a mistake to begin with. So definitely agree, Onyx. Thank you. Jorge Barrios, thank you so much for the super chat. George Lucas supposedly had new stories written out, but Disney wanted to do their own route. Maybe those stories were amazing. I did hear that, Jorge, and I really wish they had just stuck to whatever George Lucas wanted, because I can't imagine it was worse than what we got. I don't know why they didn't want to do it. It's like, this guy literally created the franchise that you are so desperately trying to revive back to life, and you just want to ignore all his suggestions? Like, yes, I know the prequel movies weren't universally well loved, but I think the prequel movies at least were better received than what we got with the Disney sequel trilogy. Like, I would actually argue, in fact, my favorite Star Wars fan out of the entire series is actually Revenge of the Sith, a prequel movie. I actually genuinely really like that movie. And I think the episode 2 and episode 3, 2 of the 3 sequel movies, because I won't defend The Phantom Menace, but I will defend the other 2. I think both of those movies are a lot better than all 3 of the Disney sequel movies. You can say whatever you want about what George Lucas did to those prequel films, but at least he had a vision, and he had some creativity, and he was trying to expand the story, expand the lore. He wasn't just always, like, looking backwards. At least he tried to do something, is what I'm saying. I think Revenge of the Sith particularly is actually, like, I think it's actually a pretty good movie. And I think it's way better than, say, The Force Awakens, which I think is a god-awful movie. So, you know, they should have listened to what George Lucas had to say. I think they were probably, like, being a bit hubris and thinking, oh, we don't need to listen to George Lucas. We're Disney. We can do better than whatever George is going to say. Look at what he did with the prequel series. I think that's why they probably did it. But I think that was hubris. That was a mistake. Huge mistake, because they definitely needed George Lucas's touch, in my opinion. But anyway, thank you for those super chats, guys. Really love it. Thank you. Okay. Rhea Lynn says he has been a writer and director of current Star Wars shows. However, he might be also part of the problem with modern Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy being there still doesn't give me much hope. Dave does have the talent to make great things. He is a big factor in Avatar: The Last Airbender being well received. I had no idea. He had directed 9 episodes in the first season. I had no idea. Dude, that makes me like him so much more. But I do not think he has the best support system around him currently to make Star Wars great. That's true. Dave Filoni himself could be working on all 10s. Dave Filoni could be working at his peak proficiency. But at the end of the day, he's still working at Disney. So, I just hope that Disney gets out of his way. I really do. That's the best thing we can hope for. Cheetah Viper says, I'm not familiar with this man. If anyone can revive Star Wars, it would have been Favreau. While he was involved with The Mandalorian, people were happy he also helped make Iron Man successful. Here's the thing about Favreau. I would have agreed with you if we were just ending after Mandalorian Season 2. But Mandalorian Season 3 told me that he's over it. He's done. He doesn't care about Star Wars or being part of Star Wars anymore. I think Mandalorian Season 3 was really bad. I don't think it was as bad as Boba Fett, but it was really bad. So I feel like if Favreau were to head up a new franchise, as I said yesterday, I actually would prefer Jon Favreau to be the new Kevin Feige rather than the new Kathleen Kennedy. I would want Favreau to go back to Marvel and help fix Marvel more than I want him to fix Star Wars. Just because I have a feeling I don't think his heart is in it anymore. Mandalorian Season 3 told me that. Sadly, if Kathleen Kennedy is involved, all projects are doomed. Exactly, just because the fans will not support it. The Force is female was stupid. I hope Star Wars comes back strong, but if not, I'll always have the first 6 movies to enjoy. On a side note, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy your mini break. You were so excited for Wish. I hope it meets all your expectations and more. Oh, thank you, Cheetah Viper. I'll be honest. I'm getting more and more nervous about Wish. Genuinely. Every review I've seen is oh, it's okay. Even the ones that are more positive are not that positive. And a lot of them keep saying it's sad. And I'm what do you mean it's sad? Why is this movie sad? I did not ask for a sad Thanksgiving movie, because I'm seeing this movie on Thanksgiving with my family. So I'm what do you mean it's sad? I'm trying to remain an open, have an open mind with this movie. I really want to like it. But I'm getting nervous by these reviews. I'm not going to lie. Why is this movie sad? I did not want a sad movie. But anyway, but thank you. I am very much looking forward to doing the live review for Wish. Red Star says, I honestly wish companies would leave Star Wars alone. I'm not very invested in the franchise, but I know enough that I think they're beating a dead horse. Yes, I know it is still popular and always make money, but the charm is not there anymore. I don't know if this is true. It really isn't making that or as much money as it used to anymore. Star Wars merchandise is in the toilet. I've told you guys, well, I guess I can retell this story because I don't know how many people heard it the last time, and I told it a while ago, but I've told you guys I used to work in Disneyland in California, right? And I got hired and started working in Disneyland right when Galaxy's Edge opened. And when Galaxy's Edge first opened, that land was a total flop. People thought, the whole company thought, people were just going to rush to Galaxy's Edge and, we were going to have massive crowd problems. But we actually had the opposite effect. It made, both parks, completely deserted and very empty. There was a whole, issue because they anticipated so many people going to work at Galaxy's Edge that they hired a bunch of people from California Adventure to transfer to Disneyland so that they could work at Galaxy's Edge. But it turns out they didn't need as many people as they thought, so they hired all these people from California Adventure only to not give them any hours once they got to Galaxy's Edge. And these were people who had a lot of seniority. And by the way, once you switch lands at Disney World and Disneyland, you lose all your seniority. So people were willing to lose years and years of seniority just so they can work at Galaxy's Edge. And then when they got there, they were given 1 shift a week or something like that because they didn't need as many people as they thought. That land, the Galaxy's Edge land, was only a hit once the Rise of the Resistance ride opened, the second ride. When it was just the one ride that was opened, that land was dead AF. In fact, it made all of Disneyland dead AF. I worked at Midway Mania, and we were feeling the effects because everyone was talking about it. We were like, "Where's all the rush? Where's all the people?" And there was no people. So, I don't think Star Wars will always be super popular and super successful at this rate because I think Disney is genuinely hurting it because I've seen it myself. Cherry Blossom, thank you so much for the super chat. Happy Thanksgiving, Brittany. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Oh, this is a hard one. I love mac and cheese, obviously. But I really love my mom's cornbread specifically. She makes it in like a specific way that no one else makes it. That's very good. So probably between those two dishes. But thank you for the super chat. And happy Thanksgiving, Cherry Blossom. Yeah, it is a shopping mall, Mad Hatter. I mean, honestly, my biggest problem with Galaxy's Edge is that, as you said, there's no kinetics. I feel like there should be a water feature somewhere, just so there's some energy there. It just kind of feels like a very sterile, very brown shopping mall. And then even when you go through the stores, because they're so committed to realism, they don't really sell like traditional Star Wars merchandise. They sell stuff that like citizens inside the Star Wars universe would buy. So like you'll find like very weird like niche products there that no one ever buys. It's very weird. And I don't even like the Millennium Falcon ride anymore. Like after the first couple times I rode it, I was just like, I'm literally just looking at a screen pressing buttons. And if you don't get a pilot that knows what they're doing, that ride is not fun at all. Now, Rise of the Resistance though. Rise of the Resistance. That's a good ride. I have no complaints about Rise of the Resistance, only when it works. Because a lot of times it breaks down. But Rise of the Resistance is a good ride. Overall, I think Galaxy's Edge is kind of a miss, to be honest. I kind of hope because it's so big, they like break it up in half and like turn the other half into like a Pandora or something. But we'll see. That's just my own personal opinion. But getting back to this. Star Film Studio says, I don't know who Dave is, but I will try my best. Well, technically, yeah. And an audience and business perspective, because Dave has worked Lucasfilm, so Dave maybe knows what's supposed to be. So technically he'll be fine, but with a critic's perspective, well, that's the problem. Since Star Wars was made in the 70s, it's going to be nostalgic. But critics don't like nostalgic, and if Dave put things that people who are fans of Star Wars, critics will put 59% or less. Are you saying if Dave makes his Star Wars movie too nostalgic, critics won't like it? I mean, there's a very real chance of that. I mean, that's what happened with the Solo movie. I didn't really care for the Solo movie just because it felt like it was full of too many nostalgic references that I felt like it was just too nostalgia baity and too like fan servicey. I didn't care for it. So I hope his Star Wars movie isn't like that. But there is a very real danger of it because I feel like Filoni's work is usually full of a lot of like member berries. Like Ahsoka has so many member berries in it. I hope his movie isn't just a whole bunch of like, oh, remember this. But it might. People who aren't a fan of Star Wars like myself won't get it, or the jokes or references in the movie. That's what I said about Solo. I didn't really feel like I got a lot of the jokes or references just because it was so meta and self-referential. I just hope that his Star Wars movie isn't like that. Why are we talking about apple pie? Oh, you guys are listing your favorite Thanksgiving things. Okay, I was like, why are we talking about sweet potato pie? Sweet potato pie is good, but pumpkin pie is better. Pumpkin pie is way better, Joshua. You're wrong. You're so wrong. Even you, rock, paper, scissors. Pumpkin is definitely better. But anyway, getting back to this. Nicholas Wilson says, it's hard to predict. As I've said before, when I was young, Star Wars was something special. Before that, sci-fi wasn't taken seriously. It was the stuff of sparkly costumes and low-budget nonsense. Then the world was treated to A New Hope, and not long after we got Alien. The two franchises changed cinema, and in a time before the public internet, we got to see them when linear TV showed them, and eventually we rented them from the video store. So rarity made them even more special. And the sequels were hotly anticipated and beloved, but we still only had the 3 films for a long time. Putting aside the holiday special that as only shown once and a cartoon nobody watched. The problem now is there's nothing special about the movies or TV shows. There's just more content and frankly too much of it. Like the MCU, I'm taking a break from it, whether they are or not. I'm taking a break from it, whether they are or not, but they really need to do the same. Yeah, I think what made Star Wars so special for a long time was that they had such long breaks between movies. Like after Return of the Jedi, they had a huge break before Phantom Menace, and then before we got a Force Awakens, we had a huge break since Revenge of the Sith. Like they used to take huge, like well over a decade breaks between series, and then when Disney bought it, it was like, not only are you getting like 3 movies, but we're gonna also give you 2 prequel movies in between our other movies, and now we're also going to give you a bunch of subpar TV shows. It's like we've had something new Star Wars since like every year since 2015, other than 2020, which we don't count. And I think that is definitely too much and has led to Star Wars just not feeling that special anymore. Like it's the whole like, how can we miss you? How can we like feel you're that special when you won't go away? Because I feel the same way about Marvel. It's just like, you know, you can have too much of a good thing. And I feel like with Star Wars, definitely had too much of a good thing, for sure. Joshua Munn, you're also wrong. Pumpkin cheesecake is the best. I don't like all this pumpkin slander in my chat. Pumpkin is like literally the best of any dessert. I'll go for pumpkin before I eat anything else. Josh Loves Movie says the pumpkin spice frosty at Wendy's is so good. Thank you, Josh. I could always count on you. Pumpkin is amazing. Anyway, I like how you guys are just talking about what are you going to eat for Thanksgiving. You guys are so cute. Getting back to this, the legendary movie critic says, I trust Dave Filoni as I'm very excited for his Star Wars movie, as it feels like an event movie after The Mandalorian and Ahsoka epic endings. However, I'm worried about how working with Kathleen Kennedy, as she has turned out constant flops and has ruined Lucasfilm and damaged Star Wars, and has had back-to-back box office bombs with Solo: A Star Wars Story and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. She needs to be let go immediately once her contract expires next year, as she has caused multiple Star Wars movies to be canceled and she has ruined the company. I'd rather have Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau run Lucasfilm than her, as she is the worst. Wow. Oh my gosh, Josh, tell me how you really feel. This is what I mean when I say, like, how has Kathleen Kennedy not been fired? How? Like, you have even Josh, who is like, who I use as my barometer of like, who is like usually the nicest, like most optimistic person in our chat. And even Josh is like, no, Kathleen Kennedy needs to be fired. She's ruined Star Wars. Like, no one thinks she's doing a good job. No one. Like, how is she still here? How? Like, literally, like, there's so many reasons, so many times when they could have fired her and they, like, either didn't or worse, they re-upped her contract. Like, her contract is apparently up next year, and if they don't get rid of her, I will be shocked. I will be shocked. I will have no choice but to assume that Kathleen Kennedy owns like some very damaging pictures of Bob Iger somewhere. That's how she keeps her job. Like, that's the only explanation. The only explanation. What is going on? What is all this pumpkin slander? I will not have it. Pretty Princess says, my aunt made a pie with sweet potato and a top of layer of cheesecake and I went straight to heaven. That sounds really good. Y'all are making me hungry, man. Let me finish this up. Alex says, no idea. I know the original series of films, but not a die-hard fan. The most I know now is the Disney Junior series called The Young Jedi Adventures. But my 3-year-old son hardly watches it. They really can't get kids to like Star Wars at all. Like, Star Wars is really becoming like... I don't even know if it's just a millennial franchise. I think Star Wars is a Gen X franchise mostly. Like, they can't get young people to care about this franchise at all. My middle child used to like Baby Yoda. Oh, used to like, oof. But she got over that phase real quick, and we watched only not even 10 minutes of the first episode before she gave that up. Oh, that's really bad. We know that the Star Wars has a lot of series and newer movies, but we don't care about them. It's meh to us. Oh. I think you represent a lot of people. I think you and your kids represent a lot of people. I think people are just over Star Wars. I think people are just over... even Baby Yoda's not as hot as he used to be. That was like the one thing Disney could point to as a success, but I think people are even tired of that. I think they have a lot to do to turn Star Wars around. I don't know if Dave Filoni is enough, but it's a nice start. Martin Schmidt says, honestly, until Kathleen Kennedy's there, I'm not interested. She's become the butt joke to every Star Wars fan. Plus, let's not forget The Acolyte in 2024 will come out, and it's already have questionable interviews and rumors. I have heard of The Acolyte. I think that's another flop in the making. Just because if they can't even get people to watch Ahsoka, which was teased in The Mandalorian, or they couldn't get people to watch Obi-Wan, which had Darth Vader in it, how are they going to get casual people to watch something called The Acolyte? Like, what is The Acolyte? Like, that's what people are going to say when they hear about it. They're going to be like, The Acolyte? This is what I mean when I say I think Star Wars has just become way too inside baseball. The Cover Girl says you never watched Star Wars. The Cover Girl, didn't you say you also don't watch Marvel? You don't watch Marvel or Star Wars, but you watch my show every day? The Cover Girl official, I love you. You're just here for the vibes, and I appreciate it. Genuinely do. All right, I think that was everyone here. Yes, that was it. Thank you, everyone. There is no WTF news today. Sorry, I couldn't find anything. I know you guys love WTF news, but I don't have anything. Again, there's no show tomorrow, no show Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you guys have a great holiday if you're celebrating. If not, I hope you still just eat a lot of good food regardless. I don't know. I will see you guys on Friday for my review of Wish. Definitely looking forward to it. I hope it's much better than other people are saying. I hope I like it. I'm very, very nervous. I feel like Josh, The Acolyte is about the Sith? They should just call it the Sith. I'm representing the average Star Wars casual movie fan who does not know, like, very nerdy, like, inside details like what The Acolyte is. They should just call it the Sith if they really want to make this show accessible. But anyway, that just distracted me. I just wanted to let you guys know I will be back on Friday. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope I like Wish more than a lot of people did, but we'll see. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This was a really fun show, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye.